Hey guys, Cody with Organic Woodwork, and I'm here with the Onefinity CNC machine again. When we first introduced this into the shop, we had a lot going on as far as production and didn't have a lot of time to invest in putting together a mounting stand for this. After using the machine and seeing the durability and stability of it, I've decided that I want it to be a vertical mounting CNC, and today we're going to walk you through how we create our base for the Onefinity CNC machine. Okay, so before we start building our frame and moving the CNC, we already have it temporarily secured to this workstation. When we did that, we made sure that it was completely square. So now, before we move it, we're going to measure our outside perimeters of the CNC. That way we know we get the exact measurement that we need for our frame for when we vertically mount this thing. Alright, so here's my thinking behind the frame. This is the Onefinity that we have drawn up. So as you can see, our y-axis are the points in which we screw down. Our y-axis points here and here are connected by two hollowed out steel beams that have wires to connect to the stepper motors, which are not drawn. Those two steel tubes plus the screwdrive mechanism that is in the middle makes it very, very stable and extremely sturdy. So when mounting to the frame, our objective is to really control from our left and right y-axis points. So we will take 8/4 pine, we'll rip it to 41 inches, seen here, and we will go from our left and right in both the bottom and the top, or the front and the back, however you want to view that. Remember, we're actually going to mount it this way. The x-axis also has two steel tubes plus the screwdrive mechanism, plus our x-axis has the stiffy attachment, so that gives it 3 steel tube attachments that connect our y-axis here and here. So with those points plus our x-axis, once we get it squared up, should make it very, very sturdy and stable. Plus we're going to take MDF that is ripped down to 41 by 39, and that is going to cover the front to back. So we're going to have our pine, which will be here and here, it run this way, and then we will have our MDF, which will cover the entire facing, and that should give us plenty of stability to mount this thing on the wall. And we're also going to mount hinges along the top, because the idea for the mechanism is for it to be on the wall. Then I can fold it out and have a piece that I can then fold down, and that will be like so, and then I can just put my workpiece here and watch it cut, and the gravity just let the chips fall. So let's hope this works. Now, something to clarify here. I have the beta machine. So our beta machine is actually 41 by 39. The actual machine that will get shipped out will be 2 inches larger in both angles. So it'll be 43 and 41 inches. Will be the actual measurements of the actual production machine, not the beta machine. So if you're wanting to look at this and think, oh, I want to make a platform, make it larger. what we're gonna do, we have our cutout for the frame. What I did, these are not getting attached. These are just simply to measure out the overall distance from the board that is connecting the front and back of our y-axis. And then that will also be going with the MDF. We cut it, we didn't have a straight sheet of MDF, so I actually have 2 panels that we're going to lay here, and that's fine to have that crease in the middle because we're actually going to put our Myers wasteboard on top of that. That way we have something to clamp our work pieces to. So let's do this. Although I didn't have a full sheet of MDF to cut out to just make a perfect square, I have the 2 pieces. And although the seam doesn't really matter to us because we're gonna have the wasteboard which will go over this, I did take a smaller piece that we're just going to put in between on the underside of our frame just to get rid of any, humps or anything. So yeah, let's do that. All right, so we're gonna flip this over. We're gonna take apart the Onefinity and we're going to mount the Onefinity to the top of this. Lay that over there. Remember, it's heavy. Okay, so now that we've moved the CNC from the work table where we had it screwed in just temporarily, and we have it now on our permanent frame that we're going to mount vertically, it's time to set it up just the same as we did before. We have our y-axis rails here. We're going to place our x-axis rail, and then we're going to use that in order to square the machine up, and then we'll put in the rest of our screws. Okay, so now that we have the Onefinity mounted onto our platform, we've squared the machine up, we have all the screws down on it. It's time to install the hinges on our wall and get this thing hung. Hey guys, so what we did is we reinforced the wall by adding that piece of stud, and that is what we're actually going to hang the Onefinity on. And we're going to use these hinges to do it, and I'll show you how I'm going to mount those now. Okay, so I underestimated how heavy this thing was going to be to lift it up that high. And so what we're going to do is we've already got the machine squared and attached to the base, but we are going to detach our x-axis here, and it should give us quite a bit of weight off of this thing. And then we should be able to mount it a lot easier. All right, so now that we got the Onefinity partly hung up, it's time to create our platform, which will fold down from the wall to keep the Onefinity somewhat at a 60-degree angle. That platform will hold our controller and everything else that we're gonna need to make it operational. We have everything mounted. The only thing is, for our monitor, it's here. But this is actually held in by Allen bolts, this mount. So we're actually going to take this mount out, and then we're going to screw it into that stud right there. That way we can just move it this way, and we can still have the monitor if we want it. So this is the mount that holds the monitor. As you can see, we're just going to put screws to mount this to the stud that it'll be going in. Okay guys, so we have the Onefinity mounted. We mounted our monitor bracket to this stud. So we have that, it's plugged into our controller. Everything is turned on, and so now is the moment of truth. Let's see. All right, that's about medium speed. Let's see what it does. Didn't slow it down at all. Great. Okay, so we have our Myers wasteboard on the Onefinity table here, and now that we have that on there, we have our piece of stock, just a 5 by 3 inch piece of stock that we're going to do a relief cutting in for a chest piece. So I have that clamped down, and now we're ready to begin our cut. here is the 1/2 to the chest piece that we were needing. The reason I had to recarve this is because on the other piece I had the cross part on top of the king actually broke off, and so that's why I only had to recarve this one piece. It did great through the bit changes, kept 0. That was probably the only thing I was really worried about at this angle. Would it keep a 0 because this x-axis is so much weight, would it falter either way? And it didn't, and it did great. I really just wanted to mount it like this just to show off the fact that the machine can carve and do a 3D relief print or carving sideways at a 60-degree angle maybe. But it's not really practical, right, to cut like this all the time. It's unnecessary stress on the stepper motors for your y-axis, and changing the bit, it was going in and tinkering from above. If our 0 was anywhere else on the table, it would be hard to really change the bit. So it's not practical. It was more of me just wanting to show off this concept, right? That being said, what I would really recommend and what I'll end up doing is actually bring this brace down to about waist level somewhere and build foldable legs, and so that way I can still, when I'm not using the machine, I can tuck it away and it's not taking up a lot of square footage. But then when I want to use it, I just simply take the hinges and just pull it out at a full 90-degree, fold my legs out, and I have my CNC table. Kind of what you would do is in a folding work table type scenario. And if you did something like that, again, you could just mount the controller to the underside of the platform. There's really, you're only limited by your imagination with this machine, and that's kind of really what I wanted to go for here. Does it make sense to mount it like this and use it like this every day? Absolutely not. One, some people are scared of it being at this height. Like, what happens if, I don't know, there's an earthquake and it jumbles and it hits the floor? Well, then it's ruined. Well, you're right. But something, if you're already kind of at ground level, it's not a lot of weight that's going to be pushing down. So I would say bring it down, go out a full 90, foldable legs. That simple. This was just a show off. That was it. But 3D relief carving at this angle, and it did fantastic. So again, just one of the reasons why I really like this machine. Hey guys, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have questions about the machine in particular, you can reach out to OneFinityCNC.com. The machines are actually on pre-order as of now. So again, you don't want to miss out on the pre-order. It's a hefty discount, and it's a great machine. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, God bless.